Joining us now is Dr. Kavita Patel, former policy director in the Obama White House, and she's also an NBC News medical contributor. Dr. Patel, it's great to see you again. So let's talk about those Pfizer boosters for children. They would only be available for children as, well, right now they're only available for children as young as 12. This would expand it to 5 to 11. How important is this new data? Could that booster be approved soon for younger children?
Yeah, Andrea, so this is a small set of data, but important enough because, as you mentioned, this is for 5 to 11, and it was a booster dose. They're first. We've been talking about first boosters, second boosters. This is the first booster dose for the 5 to 11 category, and this was done 6 months after that second dose that children had, and it showed against the original coronavirus about 6 times higher antibodies. But then when they took a subset and looked at the performance of the booster against the Omicron variant, which is what we're all caring about right now because that's what's out there, had about a 36-time higher level of antibodies compared to just getting the 2 shots alone. That's pretty compelling, Andrea, as we're talking about masks off, almost all restrictions off everywhere, and children back to school, which is exactly where we want them. But this could be an incredibly important timing. Interestingly enough, the CDC is meeting, their advisory committee is meeting later this month. I am 100% sure this topic will come up and we could see action. We have to first wait for Pfizer to submit an application, but that doesn't take as much time. Data comes out several weeks later, application, and then we could see action and potentially first booster shots in May or maybe June, so soon.
Overall, what is the average vaccination rate for children 5 to 11 with what is now available to them?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty low, which is why the messaging is going to have to be pretty compelling. We have about a 24% vaccination rate in that 5 to 11 population. It got a little bit higher. It was as low as 16% several months ago. And I think the recent Omicron surge, getting kids back to school, some states and counties, as you know, have been even talking about mandates. Some districts have mandates for that age group. So it's still pretty low, Andrea. And I think there's this false notion out there that, quote unquote, young children don't get disease as bad as older people. That may be true by statistics, but we still have countless deaths, over 1,100 deaths in the population that should have no deaths when we have a preventable disease and a vaccine that can prevent any of those deaths. So this is important for parents to understand and talk about if they haven't vaccinated their children yet. We're still waiting for under 5, Andrea. Unfortunately, I was hoping that news release had something about under 5. Still no news for under 5. Still a population that has nothing right now.
Yeah, and I just asked Dr. Fauci about that yesterday, and he said there are no data right now, at least available. Right. So New York officials have just announced that there are 2 versions of this Omicron variant, the BA2, now circulating in the state, and could be responsible for the rising infections that we've seen over the last few weeks in New York and maybe places like D.C. as well. How concerned are you about these mutations?
Yeah, so these 2 different kind of subvariants of BA2 that were picked up. Not surprising, Andrew. We knew that this is going to be something that mutates over time. What would be concerning, what would really kind of pause it, and we're waiting for New York as well as some of the other regions that have picked this up to tell us how much more infectious this is than BA2. Just to kind of level set, we know BA2 is more infectious than the original Omicron, which kind of ripped through the United States November, December, January. And we now think that these subvariants of BA2 are even more infectious than BA2. That is a cause for concern and a reason for people to think about their travels and just thinking about putting on a mask if they're in uncertain situations or around unvaccinated individuals to protect everyone else.
It's exactly a reason to continue, as the CDC, just decided, and TSA, to continue for at least 2 weeks longer.
Right.
The masking on public transit. As a consumer, someone who takes public transit, I care about that.
Yep.
Thanks very much.